In this lesson, these are the techniques that I'm going to be teaching. It's a Tawny Port wine reduction, and it goes excellent with any kind of meat. Flank steak, filet mignon, a Florentine steak from Tuscany. So the important things in this lesson is the quality of ingredients. We're going to use a Tawny Port wine. There's a ruby, we're going to use Tawny. Now, at home, I drink a 20-year, just like Scotch aged, or a 10-year. You can cook with a 10-year, but that's expensive, and the more years, the more expensive it is. This one is not any, this is a 1 year, so this is still about $14. It's drinkable, but it's excellent for cooking. Restaurants usually use a cheaper one than this, but we use this because this is one of my most important sauces, and it goes, like I told you, it was excellent with meat. So I would look up Presidential Port Tawny, and if you don't buy this one, buy one in this price range, right near it, something similar to this. Open it, drink it. If it tastes good, ports are sweet, then it's good. The older, the thicker it is. This is a good thickness to it that I use. So once again, in this lesson, this is a very simple saute, probably one of the easiest sauces and one of the most amazing sauces. All it's going to be olive oil, a clove of garlic, a little bit of white onion, some parsley or cilantro. I love cilantro. I put it in everything. Saute that up, add a little butter, half a cup of this around twice, touch of chicken stock, touch of brown sauce, salt and pepper, you're done. Reduce it for 7 over here, 3 to 5 minutes, probably 10 to 12 at home. So let's get started so I can show you the timing on everything. So we're using extra virgin olive oil, 2 tablespoons, a little more, a little less. Play with the fats and the oils and the butters. Whatever my recipe has, you can use less of the oil, a little more of the oil. I usually don't use a lot of butters. I cook with good fats, extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to use butter in this, but you can omit it. A little bit's not going to hurt. It's going to add a lot to the dish. So we're going to get the oil nice and hot. And then once the oil's hot, we can add your 1 clove of garlic and your onions. I usually add the onions first. They take a little bit longer to cook. And then I add my garlic to it later. At the restaurant, we cheat because we get so busy. We add the onions and garlic to cold oil. You don't want to do that. An executive chef will yell at you for that because you want your oil to be hot. But once again, like I said, we cheat at the restaurant. If you're busy at home and you're cooking for a lot of people and you have a lot of things going on, you could always cheat steps. So oil should be nice and hot now. We're going to add more or less of onions that we want. They're going to cook quick because it's hot. We're going to add 1 clove of garlic. So you're going to see the garlic's already browning. Once that garlic browns, once again, that technique of using the butter to cool the pan down and stop the garlic from burning, we're going to do it. Add your butter in. And now this is really hot. And I want you guys to see this over here. I'm going to let the pan get really hot and pour my port in, and it should flare up on you and should burn off the alcohol. See how nice and brown the garlic is? It's perfect. The butter's in there. So now this is okay. This won't happen at home. And if it does, turn your fire on low. You want that. See how it burned off the alcohol? I'm going to add just a touch more. So around twice is about half a cup. So now I'm just going to add optional touch of brown sauce and just a touch of chicken stock. If you're vegetarian, always substitute in all my recipes for the chicken stock, organic vegetable stock, and you can leave the brown sauce out. If you don't have the brown sauce like before, you can use the flour or cornstarch. I don't cook with cornstarch because I'm lucky that we have this. Any thickening agent you can use in these dishes. Then once I add everything in, we're going to add a little bit of parsley, cilantro. I'm going to add a pinch of salt. The salt is going to bring out the other flavors with the sweet wine. And just like before, this sauce took 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And at home it's going to take maybe 8. It's getting nice and thick. We're reducing it. That's why these are called reductions. Is when you reduce something down, you're boiling out the waters and the wines and stuff. And you're bringing everything together. I wish you guys could smell this. So now it's nice and thick. You can see how thick it gets. You're going to have to practice this. I just do it so often, I do it by eye. But as you make this a few times, you'll know when it's ready. There you go. and you're good to go. Now, once again, just like the other lesson, I'm going to repeat myself, and in my class, I always repeat myself because they ask a million questions. If it gets too thick and you burn, you walk away, add a little bit more of that, of the port wine, a little more chicken stock to thin it out. If it's too thick, if it's too thin, you add a little bit more of the brown sauce or the flour to it. So you can always adjust. Follow the recipe. I cook by eye. I don't like to bake because baking is precise, but cooking is not precise. You have to basically follow a recipe, and you'll find out, this is what you'll learn from me, most people who write cookbooks don't know how to cook. Anybody can write a cookbook. When you make a recipe like a chimichurri vinaigrette, you'll notice that in that recipe it didn't come out good because it was too vinegary. His recipe called for too much vinegar. So what you do is you just adjust his recipe. You pull back on the vinegar. 99 out of 100 recipes that you make from people's cookbooks, you're going to have to adjust the recipes in salts, sugars, oils, and vinegars and stuff like that. One guy that I usually use is Bobby Flay. His recipes are usually the ones that I like a lot, that when I do use a recipe of his, I don't have to adjust it too much. He's a really, really good chef. A lot of other famous chefs I'm not too crazy about, and I don't even use their recipes or basically look them up. Bobby Flay is one of the guys I look up. In this recipe, we learned certain techniques, and the techniques are always the most important thing. So what we did is just a simple breakdown and reduction. The most important thing is finding a port wine that you like. I love this one. Comes out great. And one time, behind my back, they substituted a different brand, and even the color. Before the dish went out, I saw the color, and it just didn't look right. I went to taste it. It tasted okay. I said, this isn't my dish. And I wasn't here for a few days, and somebody went out and bought a different one. And he couldn't believe it. He goes, how did you know it wasn't that brand? I said, just look at the color. I could tell it was a $5 port. So that's the most important thing in this dish. Another thing is your minced garlic, sauteing once again with the butter and all that, and reducing it. And then once your sauce is ready, you put a nice cut of meat, either a Mediterranean flank that's marinated, a London broil, filet mignon, a shell steak, your favorite cut of meat. And all you need on top of that cut is a simple pour. You don't have to overdo it with the sauce, because when you have a nice piece of dry aged meat, you really want to enjoy that meat. But an amount like that on top of the meat, the sweet goes good with the salty meat, and the combinations, it's like sweet and sour chicken. That's how you always want to cook. You want to integrate flavors, because one flavor brings out the flavor in the next bite. So that's all you need basically on that. You could even put a little bit of spinach underneath the meat and put a little bit of sauce on top of spinach first, then the meat on top and right on top, and you got an amazing dish. And that's it. Enjoy.
Tu vuoi vivere alla moda, ma se bevi whisky e soda, poi ti senti disturbato. Tu abballo